Hello folks, welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe Tornove, here to talk about AEW Friday Night Dynamite. Very solid for Wednesday night for October 30th, 2024 edition. Very momentous was Dynamite, which we'll go over much of all, but alas, thank you all for joining me. If you're new on the podcast, if you want to see more, of course, you can subscribe if you guys want, or please so. But nonetheless, let's get into talking about Dynamite. So, gotta talk about, the first thing we saw, which I didn't expect, Orange Cassidy. They've been dropping innuendos the last couple weeks that Orange Cassidy can help be, the leader against Jon Moxley's crew and company to take back AEW, in their words. And last week I said, I don't view right now Orange Cassidy as a legitimate threat to be the one to take the title off of Moxley. It's like Moxley takes the title for Bryan, and then where do we go from there? Well, Wednesday night we had Orange Cassidy cut a very interesting promo, which was obviously refreshing to see, because I think a lot of people are tired of the same old gimmick of him not caring. He just went out there, no music, with a seriousness about him, and cut a genuine promo. It felt like out of him, talked about Chuck Taylor last week, talked about the young future of AEW, talking about how in order to go at this by himself, he needs to face the head of the snake. So he challenged Jon Moxley, in which later in the show we saw Jon Moxley oblige, and in which Orange Cassidy wants the AEW World Championship. So we saw a graphic was made later on Wednesday that at Full Gear in November, or later this month, it will be Jon Moxley versus Orange Cassidy for the AEW World Championship. Now, again, the promo was great to hear. The only thing, it definitely helps my view of Orange Cassidy be bringing up on that pecking order. The only thing is they have to keep this going for a few more weeks to make me believe, because the bigger picture is this takeover storyline of the BCC. It's much better than how the Elites was. So, could Orange Cassidy beat Moxley at Full Gear? Perhaps. But, I don't know now. I mean, again, the promo definitely was better. It definitely helped his circumstance going in this. But I don't know right now. Although we shall see. Question is, how does Tony Khan and AEW continue to build for Orange Cassidy? Because for him to, we saw he's going to be a tag team match next week. Him and someone I blinked on, but he in a tag team match versus Pac and Claudio might be a little too soon. I mean, might be easier for him to have a singles match, but nonetheless, you get that match next week. So they're going to have to be careful on Orange Cassidy's build. They want him to look like a legitimate threat to take the title off Moxley. That's my opinion. But we'll see. We shall see. We have a few weeks to go. Adam Cole had his first match in well over a year. And what a dance partner for his first match back. Buddy Matthews, we know, is one of the best in the world. Welcoming back Adam Cole. And it's interesting how they're tying this in. So, MJF laid out the challenge last week to Roderick Strong and Adam Cole. The first 1 to 3 straight wins gets a shot at MJF at Full Gear. So, in Adam Cole's first test, so I wonder if Roddy's going to have a match at Collision or Rampage, we shall see. But nonetheless, that was interesting as they obviously Buddy tested the ankle of Cole. Did do so, and to the point where Doc Sampson was considering taking Cole to the back and stopping this match. Where Buddy proceeded to cut a mini promo saying, well, this is the new Adam Cole. He doesn't like the new Adam Cole, saying that the new Adam Cole gives up when the going gets tough. And now he's a little bitch. So, obviously Cole did not like that, so he shoved off Doc Sampson. And then he went back in the ring. Buddy continued the attack, but Cole would muster up some offense in the end. Wound up hitting the boom. Shining Wizard to the back ahead of Buddy Matthews for the 1, 2, 3. So, hell of a victory for Adam Cole in his return match. That's number one. The other thing is after match. So, Cole wanted to give respect to Buddy Matthews. So, he offered up a handshake, to which Buddy Matthews obliged. So what happened after? We saw the lights go out, and as they came back on, Malachi Black took the place of Buddy Matthews. And when they came back on, we saw the visual of Adam Cole shaking hands with Malachi Black. Hell of a visual for those remembering the days of NXT. Black and gold. These two were at the forefront at their time. And great to see. Some Cole walked off, and next week, after Adam Cole cut a bit of promo in the back, we saw it was made official for next week. We got Adam Cole versus Malachi Black. I tell you, talk about a conflict of sorts. You know, a mixed bag, to say the least. I mean, it's great to see Malachi Black in a singles match again. The only what sucks though is Adam Cole is on his road to MJF. So how is this going to unfold? We shall see. But we saw last week that Adam Cole or the Undisputed Kingdom still have the back of Adam Cole. So it's like perhaps we get a feud between the House of Black and the Undisputed Kingdom. That's an interesting fold. As you got Matt Bennett, Mike Taven, Roderick Strong, and Kyle O'Reilly has been paying close attention to Adam Cole's matches as of late. So I wonder, or segments, it's like, is Kyle O'Reilly getting set to join his friends in the Undisputed Kingdom? We shall see. But it's interesting to think about. Kyle Fletcher has been amidst some of the best stuff in AEW the last few weeks. The promo he got last week while cutting his hair, talking to Will Ospreay. They're talking about Will Ospreay. That was something. And then this week, not as big, but he was out there calling out Will Ospreay and with Don Callis. And it's crazy how now, with a shaved head, Kyle Fletcher kind of resembles Don Callis more as a younger version. So that it's crazy. But this is unique. So they call out Will Ospreay, and Ospreay obviously wasn't there, you know. But who did oblige was Kyle Fletcher's former tag team partner, Nazi Open, in the United Empire, Mark Davis. First time we saw him since Russell Dream last year, where he broke his wrist against FTR. It's great to see, and we know, obviously, Mark Davis' ties with Fletcher and Ospreay. So it's interesting, him being incorporated into this feud. It was fun to see. So, So Fletcher said he didn't expect Davis, but he offered up the hug and said, "It's great to see you, man." Davis did not want part of the hug. He said the guy in front of him he doesn't recognize anymore. He said that he knows Ospreay is not there because of what Fletcher did to him. And Fletcher talked about how Don Callis has helped him open up his eyes to what's been going on, and talked about how Will Ospreay, use guys like Davis, guys like Fletcher for his own gain in his back pocket for when he needed them. So Davis just conflicted, and he went to walk off, and Fletcher said, told Davis that, there's gonna come a day really soon where you're gonna have to make a pivotal choice and decision. And as you know, Davis, I have no problem with cutting my past from me. So, already insinuendo that Mark Davis gonna have to choose between Kyle Fletcher, his former Aussie Open partner, and Will Ospreay. So, United Empire conflict. We shall see. But I like it. This very interesting. I mean, you already got Don Callis, controlling the wings of Kyle Fletcher, who has dawned on a different look. And Will Ospreay, obviously, Don Callis' former pupil of last year. Now Mark Davis. We shall see where this goes. Excuse me, where did my notes go? Oh, there we go. So, Joe Moxley and the BCC came out, and Joe Moxley flipped the script pretty much. Where he's like, Orange Cassidy challenged him earlier. Well, that's not how it works. He said, well, how it does work is he challenges Orange Cassidy. Whether it's tonight, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's Full Gear, whatever. It's up for task. So, how does he play mind games with Orange Cassidy? Well, he did the ties with Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor. So that affected him last week. So what did he do this week? Well, we know Will Yuta has stint in the best friends. With obviously Orange Cassidy, Kris Statlander, etc. So he orchestrates Maria Shafir and Pac to take down Will Yuta while Claudio grabs a chair and they wrap it around Will's neck, only to go Orange Cassidy and then coming out for the save, and thus, it was a trap. but the rest of Team AEW, per se, were ready to fend off this attack of the BCC. And then we heard some peculiar music. The Young Bucks, but they did not show up until after the BCC were taken care of by Brethren Team AEW. So, maybe a little hints of, could we see the Elites? Because Young Bucks next up had their match with Private Party, and the Young Bucks use a certain cleaner's moves, aka Kenny Omega. So I just wonder if they're teasing the Elites, the original Elite, coming back to fend off the BCC. We shall see. So then we go to the Young Bucks and Private Party, which I thought, for one, was a hell of a match for the AEW Tag Team Championships. Now, excuse me, I think you'll agree that the build for this moment and match could have definitely been better. It's like Private Party has been a mixed bag the last number of years since they've, and this is an issue which they gotta help their tag team division out with. The fact is, the tag team division has not been great more recently. It's like, originally, back at the press rally, Young Bucks touted this was going to be the best tag team division ever, or in history. And the first few years it kind of felt like that, but booking and whatnot, and the fact that if Private Party loses, they have to split up. Definitely could have been built better, but as far as a match and as a moment, it was great. Seeing Private Party hit gin and juice on the Young Bucks and winning the gold for the first time, hell of a moment. It's like, again, these guys have been with AEW since 2019, and, coming into that inaugural AEW Tag Team Championship tournament as the 8th seed against the Bucks, who are the 1 seed, upsetting them, and then full circle moment. Kind of feels like now the team that they beat 5 years later to win the gold for the first time are the Young Bucks. Hell of a moment for these two, Mark Quinn and Isaiah Cassidy. Couldn't say enough, just good moment. Now, like we say a bunch with crowning new champions, although this time, I don't know, because usually for the new champions, no matter the company, we see a bunch where it's not so much about it can be mostly the build, but the fallout is not good. Private Party hasn't really been much traction as of late. Now, with a weird tag team division, they've been getting more love. last few months. But you get the point. It has been built like a great feud. So, how does the reign look at for Pride Party? We shall see. But nonetheless, I'm happy for a moment, which was Pride Party winning the first tag team championships. Next up, so we had Kamille and Kris Statlander, which was a short match. Honestly, they made Kamille look not great. It's fair to say. You know, she lost, and Mercedes Moné kind of cast her aside. You know, she's supposed to be a brick house, you know, the force. And for Mercedes to... That was probably the worst segment, in my opinion. The patriarchy. And you know I love Kris Statlander, but yeah, it's probably the worst segment that was on the show. So then, the patriarchy. And you wonder, when is Christian gonna cash in that if Christian does not win the world title when he cashes in the contract, I feel like a lot of people will be very disappointed. But nonetheless, he's in this feud with Hook. Interesting. As we saw them beat down the Hook last week. And we saw the patriarchy in a segment. And the thing is, Kip Sabian was joined with them. So that's a funny thing. Well, with Luchasaurus, you know, again, hope he has a smooth recovery and he just gets better with what he's doing. But with him out of the fold, for the patriarchy, you know, needing, I guess, another for the patriarchy. Kip Sabian, you know, already the best thing he's done in AEW. It's interesting to see. Next up, the main event. Swerve Strickland, his first match back since All Out. That brutal steel cage match with Hangman Page. Face off here against Shelton Benjamin. Shelton Benjamin in 2 weeks. Beating Leo Rush and Sammy Guevara in 2 solid outings. So, already his biggest test in AEW against Swerve Strickland, the former AEW World Champion. And Swerve faced off against the guy he very much praised at WrestleMania. So we'll see how this shakes up. And it was a heck of a match. Heck of a match. But in the end, so Swerve was on the top rope and almost a not as spectacular as he used to, but still the way Shelton Benjamin can climb the ropes. He went for seemingly a belly-to-belly off the top rope, but Swerve countered into a sunset flip powerbomb, followed with a Swerve stop. 1, 2, 3. Swerve Strickland gets win over Shelton Benjamin. So afterwards, we saw MVP make a peculiar phone call And then the lights went out and then came back on. But you saw what they were trying to do. As we saw this, heard this interesting music. And then you think MVP, Shelton Benjamin, Swerve. This could only be one man. And DD showed up. Bobby freaking Lashley. Bobby Lashley has arrived in AEW and is all elite. This was great. I mean, the stare-off between him and Swerve, that was something. The crowd was hyped for it. They said, holy shit, a number of times. I mean, just great. And then the beatdown that ensued, them all, the officials and whatnot, on Nana and Swerve, it was very good. And what was funny, or what was very cool, was MVP with a microphone just said bluntly over Nana's beam body and Swerve after he got the hurt lock from Lashley. He said bluntly, guess who's back in business? I mean, great to see. Great to see. What a visual at the end of Dynamite. Can't wait to see how it goes. Just can't wait. But Bobby Lashley, MVP, Shelton Benjamin, the whole fold, minus Cedric Alexander, who was originally part of the Hurt Business, are in AEW. So, great to see. Just great to see. But nonetheless, those are my thoughts on AEW Dynamite. I thought it was very good. Very good, besides a few segments that were iffy to me, but I thought Friday Night Dynamite delivered, and we'll see how it goes next week as we're on the road to Full Gear. So, we'll see. But nonetheless, thank you all for joining me. If you guys like this video, give a like, thumbs up, comment down below if you guys choose so. Obviously, I enjoy the feedback. But yeah, take care, guys. See you guys next week. Peace.